Okay. That seems to be right. Pretty sure that's right. That seems to be active. Let me change this. Bam. There we go. Let me bring this up. I'm going to minimize that stuff. And I will just go ahead and get started right there. We are going to start in DC Multiverse, but I'm let people get in here and figure out what we're going to do. What's up? What's going on? How you doing? I'm here. I'll be honest with you. I almost wish these had more of a like a guaranteed time slot, but it's not in the cards for me right now. If I'm being perfectly honest, that's the truth of it. It's just not. But anytime that I have a chance to come in here and do some of these, we will. That's the way that it is right now. There's a couple things going on in terms of the house right now, so it's been taking a lot of my filming time and whatnot, to say the absolute least about it. But yeah, hopefully once my stuff gets under control and everything, this will be a lot easier. I'm actually surprised I've maintained my filming these last months to the extent that I have maintained it anyway. And I am doing pretty good, man. What's going on? Okay. Yeah, that's all set up. I sent out the stuff. I put that up. So we're active there. We'll give that the normal time like we normally do. And that's what we'll do. I'm hoping that the fans cannot be heard on the mic. I don't think it's a big deal, but there's pretty loud fans in the house right now, and I'm hoping that that's not really coming through. I'm hoping there's nothing going on. Of course, man. Of course. Yeah, I was surprised to even find that Joker. I just got lucky. Like everybody seemed to get it, and I didn't grab up the pre-order, and then the next thing I knew, it seemed to be gone, and then it was, in all honesty, it was starting to look like it was going to be one of those overpriced figures, and I was like, well, guess I missed out on that one. And then I started kind of looking for what my next Joker possibility would be, and I saw the one in the 2-pack with the punchline and said, ooh, that, it's not perfect, it's not what I want, but it might fill that spot just enough that it gets me going, because there's probably no way that I'm going to afford that Joker if he keeps jumping up in price. And then the next thing I knew, I walked into a store and he was the only one there, and he was right next to the classic Batman with the Bat Hound, and I was like, no way. Like, no way. And hey, at that point it was absolute, it was game time, it was time, and I was like, if I don't put my money in now, if I don't grab him, it's gonna bite me later that I didn't grab him. So I guess here I go, and I put my money in. Let me copy this. I did not place, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't place these two links, but I will take care of that right now. There's that. There, it's up there. And just for the sake of, even though realistically I don't think it ever gets me anything, we will post that we're actually live here as well and see what that does. But like I said, I don't think I actually get any traffic from that, if I'm being completely honest. So we'll see. Okay. The classic Joker, you think he's the best one so far, or are you referring to the one with punchline? Because I think the one that so far is winning this and is more than likely going to win this because it's right at the beginning of the show and I posted it up way early and I think you're the first person in here. Yeah, so like the classic, as far as I can tell, just from looking at him, he's the one. Like he's the absolute one to have. Like out of all the other choices that I saw, because as soon as I thought that I wasn't going to get him, I started looking at what the other choices were. And it didn't take me long to reach a point where I was like going to settle. Like I knew that. I felt that. I was like, I think I could settle for this. But I knew that it wasn't necessarily what I wanted. If I was being 100%, I knew that. I felt that. So, hey. Actually, there might be something else to talk about here tonight, but I'll get to it when I get to it. Hey, man, what's going on? I'm assuming we're at 5 minutes, and I'm going to imagine that was smooth right there. It was completely smooth. The way I just dropped him right on the floor like an idiot. It was so smooth. Yeah. This guy looks great. This DC Direct, he looks absolute, man. This guy's probably perfect. Realistically, for what I want, this guy's probably perfect. I mean, my favorite Batman is Nightfall era. It's the gray and the blue. Like I like that. I like the black and the gray as well. Sometimes, strangely enough, the Batman costume comic-wise that I didn't like, that like it just didn't speak to me, it's the all black costume with the yellow symbol. It did nothing for me. Like I don't know why, because like I don't know. I can't explain it. There was always something about it that felt like meh. And I don't know if it was the fact that I saw the movie as something very different or what, but it never hit me like that. I never saw that black costume and was like, oh man, that's my Batman. Like I never felt like that. Literally ever. We have exceeded time on this, or I'm going to call it, and I'm going to say that Joker winded it. Joker winded it. So that's going to start it. We're going to do Joker. I'm not mad about that for even an instant, because I'm pretty sure this guy is going to be awesome. Like, I have some high hopes on this one. So, DC Direct, Joker. Look, when I was growing up, okay, Joker had a very specific look. I very much liked the Nightfall Batman look. That era is probably some of my all-time favorite designs, and this Joker in particular, if I close my eyes and I think of a Joker, it is almost always this. Like, without fail, it is almost always this. Even though, if I am to be completely honest here, this is goofy. This is goofy. Like, I don't know, aside from the fact that he will hurt you, I don't know that this is ever scary if it walks down the street at you. I'm sure there are people that can make it scary. I'm sure of that. There's no doubt in my mind there's an actor somewhere who could take this image and run with it and you would be afraid. But like, it would be difficult. He would have to show me that he is scary for me to know that he is scary. I've always felt that way. I've always felt like the Joker, especially in his classic design, this classic design specifically, has been kind of goofy looking. But it never bothered me for some reason. Because, of course, from the people that have lived through him, we know that he is scary. We know he's a real problem if you're talking about Gotham City, and it also brings up a major moral debate as to, should Batman have killed this guy? Because, like, that's a lot of bodies on Batman. Now, I'm not saying the Batman should be the Punisher, and I understand the no-kill rule because it is a staple of Batman. And I understand the no-guns rule because it is a staple of Batman. And I understand both of those ideas. But you gotta wonder sometimes if there are maybe some people that maybe needed to go. And I get that we see a storyline where he crosses a line with Superman in Justice, and Superman does just flat out murder him. And then you go, oh, well, you know, that led to this, you know, slippery slope and blah, blah, blah. I mean, really, it does come down to the idea of, like, the Kingdom Come storylines with Magog. There came a time when people started saying, why don't we get rid of these people? And so the heroes did, and then it kind of led us into the events of Kingdom Come, and then, of course, Superman and a bunch of heroes come back and yada yada, and that Kingdom Come Superman, I ordered it. We will definitely be talking about it when it gets here. Very excited for that. But let's open this guy. Okay, so Joker. Joker does come with this cane right here, and it does have this little Joker head on it, which is actually really, really cool. That's really cool. It's so goofy and so ridiculous and kind of amazing. I almost wish this was an actual type of cloth. It's not, but it is really cool. We also have this hand. I'm not sure what this hand is for. Realistically, it's almost like the Spider-Man hand, but it's not. I'm honestly having trouble. Maybe it's for the cane. I don't know why it would be. Maybe it's kind of like a holding. It's weird. That's a bit of a weird hand, but it is. Then we have a hand that I thought at first was a trigger finger hand, but that's also not a trigger finger hand. That's like a gripping hand. So that one seems to be what you would use the cane for. So that's the cane, I'm guessing. This, I have no clue what this hand is for. This hand is for fishes. This hand is for smiling fishes. Yes! Dude, I love the fact that he comes with the Joker fish. This is so ridiculously awesome. And on top of all of those things, he has an expression hand, which is just this right here. It does exactly what you want it to do. It's just this. It's doing this. And he has the playing cards. Minor complaint. Minor. There's nothing here. There's nothing that they didn't do anything with it. Does that really bother me? So here's the thing, and we will be talking about this in a video that will be coming down the road. Yes, I am one of those people that bought the Maximum Spider-Man. And we will be talking about what happens when you move your price point into premium territories and how it changes the way that we talk about the material when that happens. Because for this guy and what he costs, I'm willing to let a lot go if the rest of it works for me. And from what I could tell, we got nice separation of colors here. Kind of wish the buttons were painted, but kind of wish these cards were painted, but I'm willing to forgive it. The suit is nice. That purple works. The shoes are really working for me down here. It actually surprises me how all his characters, the McFarlane line, has had these toe articulations, because even still, we're having a lot of figures that are coming out even above this price point that simply will not do the toe articulation. He has a fantastic face. Like, it feels right, man. Like, look at that. That is good. That's great. The likeness, the flower, the separation, even this, like the twist tie right here, fantastic. Do you look up? No, not really. Do you look down? No, your chin is actually in the way. You will look all the way around like an Exorcist movie, though, and so I guess I'll let that go. Otherwise, everything else about him, it's a McFarlane figure. We know the way they move. And actually, look, I'm going to give it up to McFarlane for a small thing here. This is a dude in a suit. You could argue, big deal. But think about how many lines do guys in suit. And it doesn't work. Like, it's either the figure is very, like, lazy feeling, or, like, the articulation feels off, or like any number of different things just don't seem right about just a dude in a suit. I am having minor trouble here. I'm going to see if I can't correct it by getting under it real quick. There. My part of the suit had kind of flapped down and went underneath the leg bend, and so I just kind of popped it out, and it's fixed now. It's not giving me any problems. And of course, with the double knees, all the same articulation. This guy will do my poses. He will hold them cards. He will fight with Batman. He will give Batman a hard time. Yeah, these figures have pins. I don't care. Like, to me, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. For the price that I paid, at the scale that he's at, with the amount of detail he got, there are things I could complain about. Do I wish these cards were painted? Yes. Absolutely. Without a doubt. Do I want to know what this hand is for? Yes. Absolutely. I would love to know. See? I I don't know what that's... What is that? What is that for? What does that hand do? That's a weird hand. Like, it's not a gun hand. He's got his pinky out. It's this. This is the hand. I don't know what this hand is for. But, all in all, this guy's a great add to the shelf. Finally, because, let me tell you, man, I've been fighting with myself about, like, adding villains to the shelf and, like, how far in to go. And I knew that I wanted a Joker. Well, I got one. And I got one that I really can't complain about. Especially since this guy's probably the best that he has released. Well, you know, I would say that. I would... Anyways. Whatever. You know what? It's fantastic. I'm going to go to the chat. So, we're going to get to that real quick. First, I'll start here, and then I'll kind of go back up. He has a hand, a literal hand for holding the fish. So, like, see what I mean? So I don't know, I really don't know what that other hand is for. Making fun of Spider-Man? I have no idea. Let's see. No, I do not like the stupid tattoo on the forehead. Heath, I think, is scary. Jack, I think, is still... How do I put this? Jack is taking the first steps to growing up what we've seen on television. Because we're coming off of Na Batman, which I love that show now, but it had a feeling back then. There was a certain way that we felt about how Batman was. And then the Dark show comes out, the Dark movie. And Jack does a good job for how far he's allowed to go. But I think that because of the time they made the movie, they wouldn't allow him to go as hard as he can. And I always feel like that Joker is a little too goofy and subdued compared to what I'm 100% aware. I know where Jack could take a role like that, and I don't think he was allowed to do so at the time. I think they were still kind of having to play nice in some ways. And then, of course, when they took the reins off and they just let them do whatever they wanted, and they were like, hey, you made us a lot of money, go make another Batman movie. And then we all got the next Batman movie, and people were like, oh, what? Now, I love Batman Returns, and I love pretty much everything about it. But to say that there was, to say that people were shocked would be an understatement if we want the truth of it. And yes, Red Hood asked the same question. What's going on, stop motion guy? And yes, I wish those cards were painted. I won't deny that for a second. So, let's see. Next, I'm going to do this. We're going to put that. Dooba dooba. The next line that we are going to open. Okay, you know what? Actually, let's do this. We've never done this. This could be interesting. Let me move that for a second. That's the thing about this, is really I'm still playing with ideas as to how these are going to work. So we can either do... We could do that. We can do this. We can go to... Or I have these sitting down here. You know what? Bam! Let's do that for the first time ever. This we've never done here. We've never set it up to actually vote on the next line. Normally, I just kind of run with it and kind of pick. This could be interesting, seeing, like, because as the people come in, What are people wanting to see? That could very much open the doors for how we run and whatever, you know. We're just here to have some fun and talk some toys and some fandom and stuff like that. And this could be neat, seeing where the, and I'll tell you where right now, the DC line, there's plenty to open. Just so we're aware, there is plenty to open. Like, it's ridiculous how much I kind of got lucky, and I found a whole lot all at once at like different shops and whatnot. Sometimes pretty well marked down in a way that like gave me the chance to buy a lot of DC Multiverse. Like you'll notice it sometimes. I keep a stack of stuff over here to play around with. And I purposely like don't open it until we do shows. That's actually the reason that it piles up, is because my filming kind of gets messed up, and sometimes I'll pick stuff up, and if I'm only opening like one figure a week or something like that, and then I don't have the chance to film or something. So for a while, stuff really piled up when I wasn't doing videos, and now I've kind of been trying to cut through it. Like, there's a lot of DC over here. A ridiculous amount of DC. Let me check something real quick. Bams. We are currently sitting at 5. Okay. That was my question, was how many people are actually in. So we've got 5 people watching. 3 people have voted. Let me see. Do you think the low prices on DC figures is because of McFarlane losing the license? In a way, if you're talking about the fact that we're seeing a lot of them go on clearance and whatnot, I think stores are already making their decision. You want to prep for the next thing coming in. I get it. There's a business thing going on here. And you don't want to be stuck with a bunch of old product. So you try to get the other stuff out of your way as fast as you can. I think what we're seeing is like liquidations happening, where they're just cutting their losses now. Because, look, I have like 5 Walmarts in my area. All of them, all 5 of them, have pretty much removed DC Multiverse from the toy aisles. There might be one, maybe 1 or 2 of them randomly in the electronics section, and that is it. It is dead. It is absolutely dead. It has been removed from the shelves. And the last 2 times I went to one of my Targets, I have 2 Targets that are close, 1 Target that's kind of a drive. 1 Target that I was close enough to reach, the one that I go to more often, it's down to like having like 2 pegs. Like, and that is it. Like, there's 2 available pegs, and the rest of it is dead. There's nothing there. So I'm almost under the impression that we are at a point where the stores are cutting the line. They're getting out of the game and prepping for the next thing coming in, and they don't want to accidentally buy a bunch of McFarlane product. Hey, give us that, and then like not be able to get rid of it. And I mean, you never know. You never know. I know we like to think that we can like judge what's going to be a peg warmer, but sometimes it's surprised us what you can find and what seems to disappear very fast, and then it never comes back. And then what seems to sit on the shelf forever, and you're like, nobody wants that? And like, it could even be something that you went out of your way to get, and then you just keep seeing them, and you're like, I guess I was in no rush to get that. I missed it. That happens. Too true, there's almost no DC Multiverse figures unless you go to the game section. Yeah, and even then, it's incredibly slim pickings if you're lucky for your Walmart to even have a choice. Yeah, it's amazing, really, when I think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and call this because we're at the 5-minute mark. So we're going to open another DC Multiverse. So let me set that up real quick. A-doop. So first, let me move that to the side so I can type. Call me fat ass, Pikachu. What am I talking about? I have a very old Pikachu that sits on my microphone, like the original Chubby Chew. Obesichu, that's who I talk to when I move my mic, and then he gives me a dirty look because I'm moving his stuff around. Let's also, so that puts this guy in the running. Let's add him to the running. He hasn't been in for a while. There's that. That'll be cool. You know what? Yeah. And then one more. So sure, why not? Bam. There. There's a run of stuff right there. The guy, I probably should have specified, that's Green Lantern guy. Just so you know, it's not weird Chase Green Lantern. I do have that, but that's not the one that I don't know if I'm going to open him. I've been fighting with myself about that. He's not my favorite guy. I just wanted the Green Lantern, green jacket guy, and I got him. But I also ended up kind of on accident with the Chase figure, and I think I'm going to sell him. That was not my favorite look for guy at all. But I had a buddy that found all three figures at the same time. So he found Power Girl, Captain Cold, and Guy all at the same time. And he was like, hey, I just found all three of them. And I was like, holy crap, buy them. And I didn't even stop to ask. I didn't think about it because I was like, there's no way that it's the Chase. And then the next thing I knew, he shows up, and I got the money, and I'm like, here you go. And I got Chase, and I was like, damn it. And I was both like happy and a little put off about it because like that is by far not my favorite guy at all. I like just the standard green jacket guy. Like that's what I like, and that's the way it is. So far, we got Wildcat and Guy in competition. Just in case, that's him. There's him, and doubtful that she's gonna make it because she doesn't even have a thing on her yet. But the ones that are up right now are I got the Flashpoint Wonder Woman. That's up for vote right now. We have Commander Steel that's up for vote right now. That's a JSA member. We have Guy Gardner in the jacket. Yes, so good. And then the last thing we have is JSA Wildcat that's up for talk right now as well. So those are the figures specifically that I have sitting over there that are ready. Thoughts on the Superman 2025 movie? I think the suit is okay. I don't hate the suit. I expected, at this point, I do not expect them to make a comic accurate costume. I don't. And I'm not necessarily mad about it. Yeah, I could say that so far, and I mean, you guys know my favorite Superman. My favorite Superman is a very old-looking Superman. That's my favorite costume. It's ridiculous, but the 1940s Flesher Superman, that is my favorite costume. When I saw that live in the Superman Lois, I was mesmerized. I was stupefied. I could not believe that they made it real. That is my favorite costume. Absolute, bar none. But I am not oblivious to the fact that a lot of superhero costumes do not translate well into the movies. Like, did we really want to see, like, how great would it be for real if Marvel did 100% accuracy? Like, how serious can you take, say, how am I going to forget his name? Purple Arrows. I can't remember his name. My mind has completely blanked his name. I am... Hawkeye! Yes, I can't believe that. I mean, my mind completely wiped him. I could not remember his name for nothing. Can you imagine if he actually had that costume? Like, how much you would laugh at him? You would be hard pressed to make that dude look cool. You'd be hard pressed. Black Widow had a fairly screen accurate costume for what it was worth. Yeah, they messed with it a bit, but I mean, it was what it was. But that's because that's how she looks, and her costume kind of works in real life. It looks cool. Captain America just kind of had to be messed with a little bit. Like, we just kind of took elements from Ultimate Captain America, and it worked. Like, there are certain things that you can get away with. Now, with Superman, we have seen it work. To the extent, could it work now? Could you just do a straight-up Christopher Reeve Superman costume today on movie budget, where everybody else and everything else is going to look so cool? I'll just go ahead and I'll just say cool. Can you do it? And will it not look goofy or out of place? Arguable. If you match the attitude of the universe, you can get away with it. But that's all up for debate as to how far you can stretch that before one element is off. Because, like, in a comedy, there are certain costumes you can use, as opposed to a super dark, serious... Like, can you imagine, take the Batman movies that they did, right? The major Batman movies. I'm talking like Batman Begins and whatnot. The new trifecta movies that everybody seems to talk about. That's fine. I'm not trying to debate one best Batman or anything. I like them. They're fine. But, like, look... Take those movies. Remove that Batman costume. And put that Batman costume, give him a costume that looks exactly like my favorite Batman costume, and sell that image to me in those movies. I don't know if you could do it. I don't know if bright blue, really bright gray with a yellow emblem Batman with, like, the white eyes and things like that. I love those eyes, by the way. I think that they need to work that into the actual universe. I want the Batman's white eyes. I do want those. But, like, there are certain things. I know why they change things. So, like, his costume, I'm okay with it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But when I look at it, there is enough there for me to go, that's Superman. I see it. I feel it. They have my attention. And boy, I'm putting a lot of faith in this movie. I need this movie to work for me. Because the last Superman movie, the last two technically, did not make me feel like I was watching Superman movies. It didn't feel right. And the thing is, I know Cavill can do it. I think they screwed him, in all honesty. Kind of like how Brandon is a damn good Superman, they screwed him. And yeah, it's so good that it's only in about two episodes, but it's so good. And that's very, very possible, but also that is the S they're currently using in the animated series. So, like, there's a very real possibility that they're just kind of trying to get people used to a specific look and then kind of running with it. I mean, that might be cool, but one could also argue that Ralph has already kind of donned that costume. Brandon has already been in that costume, and just with the proper aging effects, I already know that he can be that Superman. So I mean, I don't know. But like I think Cavill could have been such a good Superman. I really think that they screwed him over. It's always bothered me. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting a 33% all the way down the mark. Okay. Huh. Okay. We will then. The cavalry is awesome. And yeah, I think that's really what's going on there. I think he wants to bring these things and make everybody kind of visual, because the more people kind of visualize with everything and make it, I think that's going to help people in general. So we're going to start. You know what? Okay. We'll start there. We'll start here because this is an interesting topic that I want to talk about. In fact, I think I've talked about this topic multiple times. And so we're going to talk about it again. But, so, here we go. Here we are. Commander Steel. This guy brings up something that I've talked about a lot in comics, and is one of the main reasons I kind of left comics. Yeah. So, Commander Steel is interesting. Because this guy right here is what I think the key to moving forward with comic books is. And a lot of people will not like it. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to tell you 100%. If they did this in comic books more often, people would not be okay with it. But I think by seeing where we currently are with the way that comic books have run their courses, we need it. And people need to get over it and kind of let it happen. I'm serious about this. This is not, if you're arguing comic book logic, this is not Commander Steel. What am I talking about? That right there, it's a mantle. It's a mantle. It's been passed down through 3 generations of Commander Steel. This is the grandson. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure this Commander Steel specifically is the grandson of Commander Steel. When I open him up, I'll double check that, but I'm almost 100% sure that's who this is. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I have argued about the status quo many times and how we need to learn to let it go. Some of these stories are stuck. Comic books have a problem. It is a problem. Superhero comics, cape comics specifically. Most capes are modern day mythology. The problem with that is that they are not allowed to deviate. And if they do, we find an excuse to return them back to basics. All the time. All the time. In my dream DC universe, We start with Jay Garrick. He's the Flash. But he does get older. And maybe one could argue, if you'd like to keep him in the comic books, you could come up with some sort of BS. Have him age slowly because of an effect that the Speed Force has. Somehow, him moving so fast and doing all these things, basically in weird raises of time, causes his metabolism to spike. And then somehow, there's something going on with the Speed Force that kind of keeps you young. You age very slowly. Still an old guy, but old enough at the point that he has given up the mantle. People no longer see him as the Flash. He is the Flash. And anybody that knew who he was or knows what he is, still respect him. But let's be honest. Barry was the Flash. But Barry died. And it passed on to Kid Flash, who took up the mantle, becoming the Flash, putting us at Wally. A tradition of passing the gauntlet. Robin should be Batman. But there's a caveat to that. I think that Bruce, in my dream DC, Bruce is not Batman anymore. Bruce has either aged out or has died somehow. And when that happens, normally, this argument that I just made, Robin would take the mantle. But this Robin doesn't take the mantle. Because the first kid, there was a falling out. And he becomes his own man. He does become Nightwing. And Nightwing does not come back to become Batman. But instead, Jason, whom died, cannot pass on the mantle, and it goes to Tim Drake. And Tim Drake becomes the active Batman. And then, if you want to play that up even further, moving into the future Batman Beyond stuff, because people really like Batman Beyond, you play that up in a way that allows Tim Drake to have been Batman, something happens, and he reverts to Red Robin, always feeling like he was never worthy of the mantle. But then Damian takes the mantle and proves to be too violent of a Batman, so he's pulled back, and Batman is a retired mantle that then gets picked up by Terry. And we have a lineage of storyline. And at any point in time that you want to go back, you can read full stories. Now, Superman, he's the beginning of the Cape comics. He pretty much is the only reason Cape comics are a thing today, in the style that they exist today. Let him age like Superman. He can still be the same guy, but one of the few people that gets to do it because of the way his aging works. Green Lanterns don't have to constantly shuffle in extra Green Lanterns, but they could retire and others could take their place, once again bringing up the idea that lanterns are not supposed to, they're supposed to work one to a sector, or in other times in comics history, two to a sector. So you put two of them on Earth and allow them to be Green Lanterns, and for whatever reason, if they retire or if they have to do something else, they're pulled into like a different part of the Corps, and they're brought to Oa for whatever reason, and now they're over there, and we recruit two new Green Lanterns, and the other guys can come back from time to time if they have to for events and whatnot. But look, mantles should be allowed to pass. These characters should be allowed to age and change and grow up and be something else and learn life lessons, or maybe even suffer the tragedy of the life that they've chosen, because not every hero gets to retire a hero, and that's just the way that it is. But we're not allowed to do that. Regardless of how far we go with Spider-Man, he always has to be childish. He always has to be struggling with his bills. He always has to be, for lack of a better term, incompetent. Like, by now he hasn't figured out a way to do this? A villain took his body and did better than he has. You could argue and be mad about it, but he did, okay? Dr. Octopus did a better job living Peter's life than Peter did. And then when Peter got his body back, he inherited that life, but we're not allowed to do that. Comic books are not allowed to do that. So we took it all away from him, and he started couch surfing on Mockingbird's couch. And once again, had no money. They took his degree. They took his business. They took his house. All of a sudden, he was right back to where he started. We do this with comic book characters. But this guy, this is what comic books should have been. Comic books should be allowed to age. And when we talk about things like the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, each of these should have had their own heroes. Golden Age, that's Bruce Wayne. But Bruce Wayne passes the mantle into the Silver Age of comics, and he does not wear the cowl anymore. Now, every time we have done this, we have to revert back. Every time we give up the cowl to another character or something like that, we just can't hold on to it. We can't do that. We can't play the game. That's comic books. This is a legacy. It's a legacy that you can read 3 different times, following 3 different characters that have been the same guy, that have different lineages, different stories, different trials, and come from different cultural times. Also dating these characters to the time that they were created and making them relevant to the time in which their stories were told. Let's open him. Okay, so as I come back in here, let's start with this and see if I was right about which one this is. So, this is Henry Hank Haywood III. Henry Haywood III took over the legacy of his grandfather, the first Commander Steel, after the old man saved his grandson's ailing body with steel enhancements like his own. The metal gave Haywood superhuman strength, speed, durability, and he joined the Justice League Detroit. See, that is a legacy character. His grandfather was JSA. And this was from a time when superheroes were very simple. This guy is hard to beat up because of steel enhancements. Steel steel enhancements. You see? Simple. But that's all you needed to be. I mean, let's be honest about it. One of the guys in the Justice Society, I mean, they come from a different time, okay? Justice Society is not the JLA. It's not the Justice League. The Justice Society were simpler heroes. Flash, fast guy. Okay? That's what he is. You could make the argument that Flash is still the same thing. But what I'm telling you is steel enhancements. Stronger, faster, because steel enhancements. One guy's superpower is literally he can grow big and he can hit hard. But you know, that's what it was. You're talking about a different age of heroes. This guy comes with a wicked pointer finger. I mean, it's pointing, man. It's straight up pointing hard. He also comes with this expression hand, this hand, which is more just kind of like an open hand, really. And then he comes with a fist. And of course, he already has a fist and another expression hand. And that's him, man. This is was a member of the JSA. And for my purposes, the reason I bought him, JSA. This is a mantle passed down from one of the grandfathers of all freaking heroes, man. This is it. Now, I'm not one of those guys that's 100% on with all the old heroes. Some of them were goofy, and they were left in the time in which they were created for a very good reason. But I gotta say, man, I've always been one of those people that really liked the JSA. I've always been one of those people that liked the JSA. I love kind of how simple it is, and I love this idea, especially for a while in the comics there, where the JSA were kind of taking younger heroes, training them, making sure that they were okay, teaching them the ins and outs of the kind of life that they were choosing, and you were being trained literally by the best of the best. Like, not a joke, the best of the best. Look, you could be trained by Wally West, the Flash, but you could be trained by Jay Garrick, the guy that's done it the longest. He's been there long enough to learn the tricks, to know how it works, and to get it across to you, and is probably better about teaching it than the other Flashes. I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but there's a very real possibility of it. You're talking about guys that have been tested, guys that have done their time for what it's worth, guys that can teach it, guys that can run it, guys that can do it. And, I mean, I loved the JSA. I'm not one of those guys that likes every old hero. But after I got Power Girl, that's right, her mandatory appearance per episode, there she is. After I got Power Girl, it kind of like, she was so good that it kind of rekindled this like original love that I had for the JSA. And I was like, you know, McFarlane's done a lot of JSA. What kind of JSA team could I build? And I'm getting there. I have Commander Steel. I have Wildcat. I have Power Girl. I have a classic Batman. I'm about to have a classic Wonder Woman, hopefully. I got Dr. Fate. He's on the way. I picked up Atom Smasher. I mean, I'm well on my way to putting together my own JSA. I'm getting a Jay Garrick. I'm getting an Alan Scott, absolutely, without a question. Like, I'm on the way. This guy's part of it. He's added to the shelf. Couldn't be more thrilled. I love the idea of that legacy mantle. That's so good. Let's head back to the chat and get things caught up. Yes, he was in Legends of Tomorrow. Now, I did not watch all of Legends of Tomorrow, but I believe that's the original. I think he's playing the first. Yeah, legacy character. Wally West was in the animated series. Yes, he was. Batman Beyond. Let's see. Just got here. Yes, you did. You missed a couple figures. Roided Outlaw said no flesh guy. Let's see. Let's see what the flesh guy is now. Okay. Just read spandex, the lighting on the picture. It looked like he's played alive. Hopefully the JSA is in the new DC universe. That would be cool, man. Commander Steel sounds like an old school Dragon Ball Red Ribbon Army guy. I mean, that's kind of the time. Let's see. General Silver. Wildcat did teach Black Canary and somebody else who's like a really, really big deal. Wildcat has been responsible for teaching a couple of people. And one of them is a pretty big deal. It's pretty awesome. And that's actually what we're doing next. Because you guys split the vote and did 33, 33, 33. So I'm just going to run with it. So let's do that now. Let's move on to the next one and keep this running. Oh, looks like you already know. Yes, I'm going to talk about that. So, Wildcat. Yes. Wildcat is another JSA member. That's where I was introduced to him in general. Wildcat is famous for being one of the best hand-to-hand close quarters fighter in all of DC. If we're talking about regular people, regular guys, okay? Regular. Because once you start leaving that realm of regular guys, you start to find out that not everybody can do what these guys do. But this guy's good enough to have taught two of the absolute fames, okay? Because this guy instructed Black Canary. That's not a small feat when you figure that Black Canary is one of the main hand-to-hand frontline fighters in the entirety of the DC universe. Period. And she has went on to train many heroes herself. But he also was one of the first guys to teach the Batman. He instructed Bruce Wayne in hand-to-hand combat. How to handle yourself, how to be tough, how to take them punches, how to move while hitting, how to read the room, how to know where you're fighting a guy and be able to watch and react with instinct as to how that guy's going to come at you, how to dispose of him and move to the next. Wildcat was no joke, man. His costume may be goofy, but he's from a different era. You're looking at a JSA guy here, okay? You're looking at a JSA guy. It's from a different era of heroes. And like I argued in the last review, sometimes the people that train, like you want that older guy who may not necessarily be able to do it that way anymore, but he has all that experience, all that knowledge, all that pain over the years, and he will get you there. He will make you something you never thought you could be. Because he's got experience that you simply cannot buy. Like, let's open up Wildcat. Here he is. That's Wildcat. That's Ted Grant. Ted Grant comes with Ted Grant. It's got to stand. See, Ted Grant, the Wildcat, he comes with just hands. But not extra sets of hands, just these hands. But Ted Grant, you don't want to catch these hands, okay? That's what I'm telling you. This dude, this is all they needed. It's about ridiculous when you really think about it. You think about all these other figures that come with all this extra stuff. And then they made Ted Grant, and they were just like, what do we give him? And Todd McFarlane said, hands. And they said, like what? Like open hands? And he said, bitches, please. Ted Grant just needs hands. Just give them to him, put him in the box and sell him. Bill will buy him. That was specifically the conversation that went down. He knew I would buy him. So I did. There he is. That's Wildcat. That's fantastic. That's Ted Grant. You know what? Just for fun, let's go ahead and check his card out. Because we have his card, let's go ahead and do that real quick. I pretty much know his backstory, to be fair, but I am curious which one they're pulling from in here. And this is the actual more original Ted Grant. So this is like the Ted Grant. And the reason I say that is because kind of how comic books kind of have to re-age themselves every now and then. And they kind of got to say, oh, well, this happened in the 40s, this happened in the 50s, this happened in the 70s, and so on and so forth. This is the original. This says right here, in 1941, boxer Ted Grant was framed for murder and on the run when a comic book inspired him to don a costume and track down the real killer as the Wildcat. Ted cleared his name, and loving the double life just kept on going. Specializing in sports-related crimes, yeah, that's a real thing. He often helped his manager, Stretch Skinner, with detective agency that he ran as a sideline. I want you to understand something. Ted Grant, okay, back in the 40s, somebody framed this guy for murder. He put this ridiculous thing on after checking out a comic book and said, I could do all that crap. And then he went out and he used these hands. And he beat the crap out of every stupid fool that was dumb enough to come his way. They caught them hands and they went to jail. And then when it was over, they said, okay, Ted, we know you didn't do it. We're sorry, man. And he could have just went back to his life and went back to being a boxer and made that money. But he said, you know what? I really enjoyed punching bad guys. I think I'm gonna go punch more of them. And for years, people were afraid to catch them hands, and they did. And then when he was done, when he was done laying them hands, he went off and found some younger heroes, and he said, "Those are your hands?" And they was like, "Old man, you don't know about me. You don't know what I'm gonna be." And then he let them catch the hands, and they were like, "Oh shit, this old man is something." And the legacy of them hands ran all the way through the Batman. That's a legacy. I don't care how goofy somebody might think this dude looks. This is Ted Grant. These are the hands of the DC universe. They will hit you, okay? You will catch them, is what I'm saying. I'm headed back to the chat. Let's see. You know, I'll say there's a ton of heroes that I thought were made up by modern movies and shows and then shocked me that they were old. Peacemaker, Daredevil, Black Widow, Cyborg, Yep, no, I get that. Let's see. Check out Wildcat in Batman, Brave and the Bold. Yes, yeah, I know. I think I saw a comic book with Wildcat had a panther head like Lion Superman. His look has changed quite a bit, actually, over the years. And, like, that's the reason I was kind of fighting with myself as to which one this was. Because when I looked at him, I did remember, I was like, this is not from the JSA comic book. Like, this goes even further back. I was almost positive. And that's another reason I wanted to go through the card and see if that was specifically, were they referencing the original before all the time skips in the universe and stuff like that. Let's see, I know what I say might sound weird, but in my neck of the woods, even back in the 90s, comic fans just knew big names. That's not necessarily weird. That's kind of true today, even. JLA was all the Super Friends done. Avengers were the main four. Cap, Tony, Hulk, Thor. Let's see. Weapons. Weapons not. Wildcat make you run. That's right, man. I'm telling you. Dude, if the superhero thing would have been big enough at the time, and Sylvester Stallone would have been able to do that, like the young one, that would have been cool. But after you say this, it would be really cool. And I don't know what kind of reality this would take, because he'd have to have himself in like crazy shape and everything again to do it. Can you imagine him showing up in this new James Gunn universe, this new DC universe, as a member of the JSA, as an old, retired, badass, like that just basically he's superhero Rocky? I mean that's kind of what that's kind of what he is. Sports crimes. Good thing he's in the U.S. Quit out the sport riots and hooligans. Oh, no. No, yeah. Let's see. Daredevil might fight the hand, but he will not. That's right. That's absolutely right. Daredevil might fight the hand, but he don't want to fight them hands. It's absolutely right. 80s cartoons are TV-length commercials. We all know this. Yes, they were. Absolutely. We should 100% know that. And for people that still kind of fight against that, and they're like, no, that's very blatantly true. That doesn't mean some of those shows didn't stand on their own. But some of them, you try to go back and watch them, like now, and it can be tough. Some of those shows did not age well at all. So in terms of him, I've seen him in this purple color. I've seen him in straight black. I've seen him in kind of like bluish colors. It's kind of rough. That's the other reason, like, and I know McFarlane has this habit of being like, oh, this is him. And then just like we talked about with Green Lantern, that's not Hal Jordan from Green Lanterns. That's absolutely not. So that was the other reason. Like when I looked at the back and I looked at the picture and I looked at the card, I was like, which era is he claiming this is? And I'm pretty sure this is pretty close, to be fair. It is very simple and it's pretty close. But yeah, for a while there, he did actually wear a black costume. I do remember him wearing a black costume. And also this hood has changed multiple times over the years too. Let's see. And that's actually, that could be a proper argument, actually, depending on what's going on there. I'm not going to argue with you. You could very well be right. I'm red-green deficient, so maybe I'm seeing something darker than what you see, or it could also be the camera playing tricks with the way the light is as compared to what I see and what the camera's picking up. I don't know. Okay. Well, okay. Let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. Let's open one of the biggest pricks, if not the biggest prick, in the entire Green Lantern Corps. Let's do that. Green frickin' Lantern Guy Gardner. You know what? When they said they were doing this, I got excited. When I seen him, I was even more excited. When I seen that they were doing faceplates in a line at this price, I was even more shocked. We are going to mention that problem. I see a problem. But Guy Gardner is awesome. Okay? He's one of those characters that has literally made almost his entire superhero career, his entire personality is being a prick. And he's one of those characters that it like works for. And one of my favorite team-ups ever in Green Lantern history is Guy Gardner and Arquillo. That is one of the best pairings ever. Like, straight up ever. That's so good. It worked so well. It is so ridiculous and so perfect. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic. Like, and one of my favorite scenes in Green Lantern history is when he is captured by Sinestro and his ring runs out of power and the suit goes away. Pew, whoa. And then he's just naked. He's just naked. And Sinestro is like, oh, what? And he's like, well, the ring gives me my clothes, man. He's like, I woke up and came out here. And he's like, you want to hand me my bag? And he goes, and Sinestro's like, yeah. So he goes over and he grabs his bag and he throws Guy the bag. Guy catches the bag, and Sinestro is under the impression that Guy's going to take out some clothes and get dressed from that bag. Guy unzips the bag, takes a beer out, drops the bag, drinks, chugs that beer naked, crushes the can on his head, and throws it on the ground. And he's like, we gonna do this? Like, you gotta love how ridiculous Guy can be. But my favorite pairing has always been Guy and Arquillo. That all being said, this is the Guy I like. I don't like Guy in regular jacket with a G. I don't like when Guy became like that Guardian thing or whatever. I didn't like that. Red Lantern's kind of neat and kind of works for him. But we've seen him change this identity a couple of times over. And it's one of those few times where, like, I know that I just did an entire argument about how comic books really need to be allowed to age and change. Almost every time they have changed Guy, it has been for the worst. Worse. Like, beyond a doubt. No change they have ever done with Guy, aside from this, has ever really worked. For me, anyway. You can like all the things you want to like. Okay? That's not for me. Let's open this guy. All right. So, there he is. There's Guy Gardner. He's really good looking. Actually, that's a really decent likeness, and we'll be talking about his hair here in a second. But a couple of things. I really like this. This is so good. This is just done so well. I like his body size and everything like that. I think that's very well done in all actuality. Let's figure out what's going on here with the ball joints. There we go. Mine is just a little... There we go. Fixed. So... Guy... First off... Small problem. McFarlane. What are we doing? What's this? McFarlane. Green Lanterns. Fly. I know you can do it. You released the Superman. Multiple of them. With flight stands. If a character flies, McFarlane, and especially if you're going to call something deluxe, flight stand, McFarlane, put your shoes on, go out to the factory, and get them flight stands in the boxes. So, Guy Gardner comes with pointing prick finger. Guy Gardner comes with prick fists. Guy Gardner comes with prick trigger fingers. He comes with a prick light. He comes with 2 prick faces. And prick hair. And because I have to know, okay, because this is one of the biggest things that I've been wondering is, how does this work? Okay, so I can already see it. I don't know if this is any kind of deal breaker. For some people, it could be. But you can see it's pretty good, but you could see it. You see how there's the cut? That's the faceplate. So, unlike multiple heads, faceplates more than likely save him money on production. Instead of having to sculpt completely separate heads, you get a couple of faceplates, you put them on there, it works. But it does come at a cost to the sculpt a little bit. I don't know that that's necessarily bothering me. They kind of worked it into the hairline pretty well. So we're probably going to ignore it, to be fair. But let's see here. His hair just pops off almost literally like a Lego man. Like, literally like a Lego man. And then the head itself, it doesn't really look down. It doesn't look up too well, but it looks up for what it's worth. And anytime you want, you could put on his old hooligan hair. I do like that they changed his hair. I do love it. But at the same time, this haircut, man, we know, okay? We're completely aware just how ridiculous that hairstyle is. Well, oh, that was very easy. So it literally just pulls off. Whoop. And so then we can put on the other head. That's the other expression. And then there's another expression. And this is kind of wild now that This is almost disturbing, okay? Let me just say that. We're going to get into this for a second. Do you see this? You see how he's screaming and everything and he's got his tongue? The tongue is in his mouth, you know, like how biology works, you know? It's like kind of like behind your teeth, like in your mouth. But that's his tongue. So when you put another face on him, right? The tongue is actually in his mouth. And it's kind of wild. It works perfectly. But to like stop and think about it, because I mean we don't really do that when it comes to our action figures. We don't really think about it like that, but like I know that his tongue is like in there behind his face. There's something weird about that. In order to give him that face, they knew that they weren't going to do the faces. They weren't going to do the They weren't going to do head swaps. So they actually had to incorporate him in a way that his tongue would be in the mouth and the face plates would have to go over it. But each faceplate still had to look good and like convincing, and it does. My only concern, if I'm being perfectly honest, how easy is it to pull these off? I almost wish there was like a magnet or something. 'Cause like, I fear that in time, if you swap those out a lot, will that cause an issue where later on his face just falls off? Like, will we get to a point where his face just falls off? Because I think that's a very real possibility. But if that's all I have to complain about, is that Todd really needs to get off the couch, put his shoes on, and give me a flight stand, and that maybe someday his face may fall off. It's not happening right now, so like, I'll get over it, I guess, is the best I can say. Like, it's not going to bother me that much. I have Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, on the shelf. I think, aside from Simon and Jessica, I now have all main Green Lanterns. Well, I would like to have like Tumar Ray and stuff like that. But I'm talking like the main Earth Lanterns. I think I have them all now. I'm missing 2, and I don't 100% know if Jessica's even been made. I know Simon has. I can get Simon. I don't know if Jessica's been made for this line. I'll have to look that up. And if she does exist, I'll have to see if she's already been marked out of my price range. Chances are, right now, she could be. But there we go. Back to this chat. Let's see what's happening over here. Let's see. Yes, and Batman did knock him the fuck out. He was being a prick. Thought Sinestro was the biggest prick before he went scary lemon mode. No. Guy Gardner will out-prick Sinestro. Sinestro's complicated because Sinestro actually still believes he's an egomaniac, but he does actually believe that he's doing the right thing. Like, he's one of those complicated villains where depending on what angle you want to play, you could make the argument that in some cases he's right. Like, he's very much kind of like a Magneto type thing where he believes that, and I'm not saying it's right, but he's kind of like authoritarian, but in some cases his way has worked better than their way in some cases. So it really bars the idea. I wouldn't necessarily be on his side, but some of the stuff he's accomplished has actually been good stuff. Now, his daughter ran the Corps very differently from him. very differently. Which that would be cool too if they released a Sora Natu. That would be sweet. Let's see. I don't even know what that is. I probably heard that was a thing and just left it alone. No Mohour bowl cut. If I didn't know this was the toy manufacturer, all I'd think Bill was scolding McFarlane, the Family Guy. It's the most generic American guy. Don't we hating his bowl cut? Don't we hating? Okay, so let's look at this real quick. Let me look at this. Okay, not bad. Let me set up the next set real quick. Bam, bam. We are going to figure out. Let me move that over there. Or are we going to beep? We could also do ooh, that's a question. We'll talk about that here in a second. Yeah. And there we go. What is the next wave we're going to be looking at? So, was I a fan of the Kilmer Batman? Will any of those characters ever make the shelf? So, this is one of those things that, like, I remember when I first seen it, I liked it a lot. I was a kid, it was Batman, it was friendly for what it was, but it was still, like, somehow serious enough, like, more serious than what I grew up on, which was 66. So I had a certain feeling about it. I thought I liked it a lot. As I got old, I really started to see the difference in the first two films as opposed to the third film. And it really started to bother me to the point where it made me hate the movie. But it wasn't really the movie's fault necessarily. Then as I got older still, I kind of got over that. And I started to like the movie again. So, like, now I'm at a point where I can actually, I sit down, and every now and then if I choose to watch those movies, I'll watch all four of them. I'll just watch them. Just, oh yeah, this is cool. And, like, I take different things from each one and kind of be like, oh, I like this. I don't like this. That's so goofy. But, like, I just kind of turn myself off about it, and I'm just like, hey, this is fun, and I just have fun with it. And so it doesn't really bother me. It's not one of those movies that, like, I'm hung up on. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I could find things in every single time I watch it that I'm like, I like this movie. Like, for what it is. And oftentimes I watch the movie and I say, I know there's movie missing. And then I kind of wonder how different that movie would have been if I would have got to see the movie that's missing. Now, would I put those figures on the shelf? If, a huge if I found those at an overstock or a flea market or a toy show and they were marked, like they were not, like they'd have to be marked down, they'd have to be marked. Probably. I don't hate them. I don't love them. And, as it stands right now, there are a couple of spots open on that shelf because there's a couple characters up there that simply will not be staying there. They won't. They won't be staying there. like fire. I just still feel about stupid that I bought fire. Even my daughter watched that video. And she came over like the next weekend or whatever, and she was like, Dad, I saw that video. And I said, what video? And she goes, you bought that fire chick. And I go, yeah. And she goes, Dad, she's awful. I was like, holy crap. Even my kid was just like, that toy is terrible. Like, she was not done well. Yes, Kilmer recently, very, very, very recently passed away. He had been sick for a very long time, to be fair. This isn't exactly something that, like, shocked me. I kind of saw this coming, but it doesn't change that it sucks that, you know, he died. And he wasn't an actor like I followed very closely. I'm not, like, a huge fan of his movies necessarily, but, like, for what it's worth, I'd like to see the guy die. But yeah, he was kind of surprising. Surprising. How do I put this? I knew it was inevitable because I knew he was sick. But at the same time, like, he'd been out of my public perception for so long that when the news hit, I was like, oh crap. Like, and it did kind of surprise me. Okay, well, it looks like, and this is kind of surprising me, we are going G.I. Joe. So, bams, bams, boom, boom. Let's see, we will do... That's a possibility. Let's also... Oh, you know what? Yeah. That is definitely a possibility. Let me move my mouse. What are you? That's a possibility right there. Definitely. These are... Perfect. And then last, I will put... You get to move over there for a second. Because I need to see your name, because I actually don't know your name. This is... Okay. I need to move that. There. That should be a good start. Bam. Yeah, for Star Wars, we're getting to a point where that's almost done. And once that's done, that could be done. I don't know realistically how much Star Wars I'm going to put on the shelf after what I've already obtained realistically. Yeah, trying not to sneeze. Okay, yeah, I don't know realistically if I'd be putting anything else Star Wars on the shelf for, like, I mean, I've got what I want. All I was really after was getting basically the main cast. I've got it. And then I grabbed a couple of specials. I added them. They're ready to be unboxed. When we unbox them, we'll talk about them. And then Star Wars might go off the listing completely. Because, like, it's just not a line that I focus on. It just isn't. It never has been, and more than likely it really probably won't be in the long run. I don't know what the chance of that really is. Because, like, I like Star Wars. I like it a lot. But it's also one of those toy lines where I only very much needed very specific things. And, like, looking over at the shelf now, I have a Stormtrooper, I have Palpatine, I have Darth Vader, I have Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, maybe an old Obi-Wan. If I could get an old Obi-Wan, that might be cool. I have Bespin Luke. I don't really care about having Black Suit Luke. I don't care. I don't care about New Hope Luke. I have the one I want. I have Bespin. That's fine. I have Yoda. Let's see. I have Pilot Luke, but that's because he came with an X-Wing. So, I mean, that's why I have him. It's not like I went out of my way. I wanted an X-Wing. I have two Leias. I have the comic book Leia, and we talked about why I bought her when we did it. And I have Empire Strikes Back Leia, because that's my favorite Leia. Specifically Hoth Leia. And then I have Darth Maul. I have Grand Moff. I have Tarkin. I have Chewie, Han. I could argue that I could use a different Han. Maybe if I could find the Empire Strikes Back Han, because he has the better face, personally. I mean, that's everything I have. I knew I wanted a Lando. I got one. I wanted a special figure. I got it. I wanted a couple of the video game characters. I got them. One could argue I'm still missing one. But, yeah. I don't know. Like, it would surprise me if I went out of my way to get more Star Wars. It would really shock me. Don't know who any of those choices are. Well, enjoy. have all the fun. Looks like the Cobra Viper Officers Pack is going to win, and that's actually a good thing for me. Like realistically, it is, because every time I review anything, it then opens it up and adds it to my stuff for me to be able to do photography. And that pack I bought for a very specific reason, and we'll talk about it. And then, surprisingly enough, the Beachhead and Jinx, there's a reason I have to open them together. I've noticed they've been in 4 different votes now, and they've lost all 4 times. So at some point, I'm just going to end up doing that to talk about it. But because there's a very specific reason that I have to open them together. So that's fine. We are set to open these guys. These guys feel heavy. It's actually pretty cool. Okay. Get right into it. So, this here, number-wise, this is 47. I know that it's because I have the camera reversed. 47. This is the Cobra Viper Officers and Viper. Cobra Viper Officer and Vipers pack. If I'm not mistaken, these are three guys, and I'm going to tell you why I bought them. 3 Joes. 3 Joes specifically that I could use as cannon fodder. They're pawns, bad guys. I could have them fight Captain America. I could have them fight Black Widow. I could have them just fight other Joes. There's all kinds of cool images I could do with these guys. And their guns and whatnot came with muzzle flashes and effects. So, like, these guys are really cool for what they are. And they went on sale on Big Bad, and they were, like, marked way down. Like, they were pretty cheap. I want to say I got this pack for, like, I think it was a little less than $30, which was a huge deal when I got them. Because, like, this is cool. And this feels heavy. I mean, I know there are 3 guys in there, but, like, it feels heavy. That's some sick artwork. It works really, really well for me. They look like they're going to be really just cool guys in general. I love the idea that they come with the muzzle flashes and whatnot. That is the primary reason I bought these things. So let's open them up and check them out. Okay, there's a lot here. like, I mean, I guess I expected that, but, like, it's one thing to just blatantly know there's a lot here and then, like, start unboxing it. Like, there's a lot here. So, first off, I think these 2 guys here are the same. I'm pretty sure these are the troops. As far as I can tell looking at them, they are the same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it. They look pretty cool. For just like standard shock trooper type of guys, that are going to be really good as stand-ins and whatnot, and because of their scale, they'll work good with things like I said. I could do like Captain America and stuff like that. That's actually really cool. So there we go. And then the other one, this, I'm guessing, is the officer. Right now, I don't see extra hands or anything, but I imagine that's a thing. Are my legs backwards? Are they not? I'll show you why I'm confused. No, they're the same way. So here's what was confusing me. See, because there's the red here, right? And then there's the red on the inside of the thigh. And like that's messing me up because it almost makes me feel like it's supposed to be like that. Like maybe this leg is actually supposed to be over there. It's not, right? No, it's right. It's right. There's the red on the inside, the red on the outside. Okay, it's just the way that looks, it looks like it's a thing that goes down the leg. And so I was like, are all my guys backwards? I was like, oh no. So, oh my. Okay, so he has drop downs. That worried me for a second. I thought that something was like wrong. But no, it seems fine. Their movement is G.I. Joe's. I'm not experiencing any like offset problems or anything like that. Seems fine. There they are. Here's the thing I wanted to see with these guys. I want to see their accessories. More than anything else, I told you why I bought them. I bought them for a very specific reason. I just need these guys to be stand-in officer guys. There's the gun. I can see that the muzzle has the little hole in it, so we're going to put that there. We're going to open all three of these. There's that. There's that. Careful with your box cutters, people. Don't be cutting your hands. I have, oh wow, that ages me like crazy. I have like 30 years experience with box cutters. Because I got my first box cutter as a tool when I was like 11, so that I could work specifically on models. My grandpa gave me it, and he's the one that taught me how to like unscrew it and change out the things and everything like that. It's kind of crazy that my memory just hit that, but yeah, it was. I was working on models specifically. I was 11 years old. 30 years experience with a box cutter. I see the muzzle there. Now this would be the perfect point in the episode to like cut my finger and like, ah! But no, I should be fine. Very rare that I take an actual chance with a box cutter, to be fair. See, two muzzles there. And every single one of these has these holes in them so that they can work with the flash effects specifically. And I'm telling you, that is the main reason for their accessories, which, man, I'm telling you, there are so many freaking accessories. Like, these guys come loaded. I would almost do myself a favor, if you want the truth of it, by buying one more pack. Because, like, with one more pack, I would have literally 6 different troops, plus the guys that I already have, which you can't see them, but that shelf up there is the G.I. Joe stuff. And so I would have even one more pack again So I would have like 6 of these guys, plus the red guy, plus the couple of bats that I have. Like, and that's what I want. The G.I. Joe stuff is going to work really well for setting up things like, can you see like an X-Men scene that I could set up with these kind of guys like hunting X-Men? Because I think I could set something like that up and give my X-Men stuff to fight and whatnot in some of my photography sets. I think that's a good idea. I think it'll work out very well. Oh, this backpack is cool. So they come with this backpack right here. This is one of them. Very, very simple, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It has the Cobra symbol and everything. There's just enough. Like, I'm impressed with the amount of paint op that you get with every one of these figures. That's something that I've been saying for a while, is G.I. Joe is literally, pound for pound, one of the best toy lines that there is right now. I'm not a G.I. Joe fan. Like, I know it seems like it sometimes, but this toy line is so good. It's at the perfect scale. It has so much definition for the price you're paying. It comes with so much value for the amount of money that you're spending. And, like, they seem to very much be done very well. Like, pound for pound, it is just an unbelievable toy line. Okay, and then so this one backpack is different because it belongs to the officer. Cool. That's cool. And then that leads me to these, which I'm guessing these are the effects. So I'm going to tear this, and then we're going to see what we got. We got a lot. We got a lot. Holy crap. Okay. Wow. First off, we have these sets of goggle things, which they already wear helmets, so I'm not going to claim to know 100% about what that's about. But we got these sets of goggles, which are really cool. So that's awesome. And who knows, depending on their make, you could probably use these for other characters and whatnot and get away with it. Next, they have these handguns. So they have sets of handguns, which each one of them came with these holsters. So put that in there, and then I'll turn this one so you can actually see what I'm doing here. Just gun, he has the holster, it goes in there perfect. It's perfect. But the officer gets this one, which is arguably a cooler gun. And this one has an open muzzle. The other two did not have open muzzles. But this muzzle here, it can actually fit something like this silencer. So that's something specifically for his gun only. And after he shoots somebody, come on, that's an open. There's like a smoke effect for the gun. That's cool. So, like, I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this stuff. Uh-oh. Let me fix that real quick. The little muzzle thing popped off for a second. There we go. And then, let me start getting some of this stuff. So, like, there's an effect. That's one of the effects right there. That's cool. It looks like there's so many of these. This is awesome. Here's another effect right here. This is the whole reason I bought these guys, was literally this. Also, this is open right here. I can't help but wonder. Yes, it is. So you can actually attach effects to effects in some of these cases as well. Like, that's cool. So you can, like, really make this crazy as you want it to be. And I'm not even done. There's still more effects here. There's this effect which looks like it also connects to this effect. So that's 2 of them right here. This is probably used for something like this gun, but right now I'm just using, because these are all like interchangeable. This is kind of wild to me how much you get with this. Like there's this right here. So there's that effect. And then in tangent with everything else, like you could set up so much with this stuff. There's this right here. This does, now that also has a hole too. So you can even add to this. You can have like this with this probably. Yeah, it looks like you could. And you have a sweeping effect as well. This is one that I think is really cool. So you can actually have it like a movement as it's going sideways and everything. That's sick. Like, that's everything that came with them. They all have the same, I mean, they're G.I. Joe movement. I'm not getting any kind of problems with them or anything like that. Like, this is a cool pack. I put off buying this pack for a while because it was expensive. It was, because it's 3 figures, and it literally cost what 3 figures did. But everything said and done, it also was not a rip-off ever. It's just that sometimes when I'm out buying G.I. Joes, it's like you have this feeling like you want to buy 3 Joes, but you could buy a 3-pack, but they're all like the same kind of guy. So then it makes it feel worse than it is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like it is actually a good thing, but it like feels off. You see what I'm saying? Like that you would buy, like you'd get 1 box, but you'd pay for 3 guys. That's kind of what messed my mentality up for a while until finally I basically got a go ahead, and I was like, oh, okay, wonderful. It's on sale. I'll give it a shot. And so I did. I bought them. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So they're added to the shelf. Now, let's run this. No, I do not want Jar Jar. I will absolutely survive without Jar Jar. Let's see. Yes, they are. Let's see, Seth. Okay, oh yeah, did I tell you that your idea for my stream is actually working out well? I just have the issue of no one showing up, so I think I'm 100% done with shows solo. So one thing, I saw that you, like, for a little while, you wanted to, like, rely on votes. I wouldn't do that. I'd run the gimmick for a while and just literally get like an app for a spinning wheel or something. I'd put every game you own, every single one, on that spin wheel, click the button during a regular video post. I would say, hey guys, Sario says I play my games random. What are we streaming this week? And I'd click it, I'd let it spin, it'd pick a video, it'd pick the game, and then I'd post that as a regular video for like regular content finds, and maybe even edit it as a short if you wanted. And then once you get those out, those will go out and it'll say, oh, looks like I'm playing, and then whatever it chooses for you. I wouldn't rely on votes or anything yet. Like absolutely not. Not when you're like trying to build. And then I would start playing those games, and hopefully if you do all the tags and everything right, that should start leading to something, and hopefully it's enough of a like wild gimmick that maybe it could actually help you too. Because like, dude, it's so hard to build audience on anything. Even if you're staying consistent with the one thing you do, it's so hard to build like an audience. It really is. These guys feel like mass-produced Dark Samus soldiers. I love it so much. The officer with the golden visor looks like Master Chief. That is cool. Now I can see the leg colors being mismatched, fitting the snake motif. The scales look wacky. Let's see. Who hasn't yelled out Cobra? That makes sense, knowing you ain't a fan. Yeah, no, I'm definitely not. It's so weird. I've only ever seen one episode of the cartoon. Ever. NES Zapper. Yeah, I notice he does have a bunch of special red stuff. Watch those. Hip pegs. They're a little slim on those Vipers and tend to bend and warp easily with more extreme articulation. Really? Well, thank you for mentioning that. I will keep that in mind. And I will say, for what it's worth, for what I need these guys to do, I'm not feeling like I'm getting any kind of problems. But I'm not oblivious to the fact that these guys do not feel up to the exact same par as the other characters that I have. I am noticing that. But I'm not displeased with them yet. I did experience one problem, but I think it's something that I can easily fix. In fact, I just fixed it. When I put the smoke into the silencer, the orange part popped out, but I've already got that fixed. So that really isn't a problem. That I think I'm done. My wife just got out of what she's doing at 9:30. At least I'm pretty sure. And so she should be on her way home soon. And so, yeah, I am going to be signing off. This wasn't a bad episode, though. Let's see. Tonight was Commander Steel, Classic Joker. We got Guy Gardner. We got 3 Joes. We got Hands. No, absolutely. This was a good one, and I'm actually pretty happy with. I definitely happy to open these soldiers because now I have multiple ideas for some scenario settings and whatnot. And that's another thing that I'm starting on the channel. It just started I got a couple of them that I'm hoping to film tomorrow. I have some of these photography discussions where I'm discussing some of the shots that I've taken and what my thought process was and how I feel about the different shots, what I feel worked, what was a pain in the butt, what figures really cooperate with me well and I enjoy working with, what ones are just an absolute pain, like their legs don't want to work, they don't balance right, things like that. So I have a whole lot of stuff that I'm happy to do with that. I actually did not know that it was Sentai Day. Officially 50 years today. It's crazy. Wow, yeah. Yeah, wow. Look, man. Some of these legacies, I mean, that's what they are, man. They're legacies. They just go and go and go, and it's kind of wild when you really stop and think about it. Just how much some of this stuff kind of gets out there and stays and doesn't really, I mean, yeah, they have ups and downs, but they never really truly leave the light, you know what I mean? They're you can always kind of count on them to kind of be reevaluated, put back out there and whatnot. It's kind of mind-boggling. You want the truth of it. But I am going to get out of here. I was happy to finally get another one of these streams. It's been a while since I've had the opportunity to actually do one of these. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for everybody that actually stops in, hangs out, says words, things of that nature, does the votes and everything. Like I said, I really hope this becomes more common, but I have no idea what the actual possibility of guaranteeing, especially right now. There's something going on that keeps me from kind of coming in here, and it's even made some of the normal filming difficult. This is the first quiet night that I've had, and it's not quiet. I'll be interested to come back to this video and see if I can hear it on the audio, because there are a lot of fans going right now. And I can hear them. But I don't know if this mic has been cutting that noise well, or if it's in the background of this entire thing. And if it is, that's going to make the editing for this be really fun. Not that there'd be much that I could do about it now, but I didn't notice anybody seem to think that there was anything off or anything like that. But, yep, I shall be back. I shall have more things to talk about and more topics and things like that. I have a couple of topics that I actually want to cover in terms of just like videos, talking head videos and stuff like that. But, yep, I'm going to get out of here. Take it easy, guys. Bye.